Hello, everybody. Graveyard Flowers. Thank you for coming back to my channel. If you're new here, please feel free to give me a like, a subscribe, or go away. I don't care. um, Again, the title of my channel is just the name of a candle I happen to have sitting here on my desk next to me. It's nothing vital importance, but anyway. So we're back onto into Shantopolis or into the Chantal verse or whatever. As everybody knows, she had a big old chimp outrage yesterday. Good times. Um, and basically, she got caught with Natter at that hotel in Cornwall. Everybody knew she was going to see him. Everybody knew. And of course, he magically comes out with a video that's pre-recorded of him doing some kind of god-awful barbecuing. And oh my God, she's caught in the actual nubs of the barbecue grill. Well, she can deny, 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 but what are the chances that this guy who's originally from Egypt, lives in Montreal, lived in Gatineau, would purposefully go 40 minutes out of his way between Montreal and Gatineau to visit Chantal's hometown? I'm sorry, Chantal. You can deny it all you want, but I'm sorry, Cornwall's 40 minutes out of the way. 40 minutes out of the way. Why would he go there? What purpose does he have to go there? Especially somebody who can't drive or doesn't drive. Why? Why would he go? Explain that to us. That's where, oh, one of the most recent lies is. The other most recent lie, and a lot of people have been kind of getting up in arms about this a lot lately too, is the letter that she showed everybody that it was proof that the case was dropped. Now, a lot of people are very um, divided on this. It's a big deal. Ooh, it's a big old scandal. Now, for me, I don't believe that letter was the real letter. I think I've been saying this the last couple of videos that I've been doing. I think that letter is old. But what she did was a copy and paste job. And so basically, my reasoning is little anecdotal information is when I was a little kid, I used to love to write letters. I loved writing letters. I'm a little bit older than Chantal, so I am the pre-email days. I'm, handwriting, cursive, fancy stationery, all that kind of stuff. I loved writing letters. But of course, I'd only have limited pen pals as, a 9-year-old would have. And I used to love to write letters to my friend that lived in Wisconsin. And we would go and visit them a couple times a year. So I kind of got experience, feeding the cows and shearing the sheep and picking the corn out of the fields. Oh my God, it was like some of the best childhood memories I had. But in between, I loved writing my best friend letters. So I kind of became a letter writing nerd. And I know kind of more formal structure as an adult because of, just college courses and things like that, but also in my own professional life. Um, I've had multiple different jobs where I've actually had to use formal letterhead for certain things. One of the companies that I used to work for about 20 years ago, when I first moved out to where I live now, it was a very bougie catalog company. We sold very high-end, expensive items. And with that, unfortunately, comes a lot of fraud. And the company that I work for is a very, very, very small company. Unfortunately, in 2008, they went under and I was laid off from that company. They no longer exist, but they did sell a lot of expensive items, and we had a big problem with fraud. And I'd like to say I was part of the fraud department, but I actually kind of more or less was the fraud department. It was a very small company. I worked there in their customer service call center, but as a side to it, I was actually kind of gifted the job of dealing with all the fraudulent orders. If we couldn't catch fraudulent orders, or if somebody used a credit card at our company that was dinged as fraud, we'd frequently have police departments from around the world calling us to continue or to, I don't know, to prosecute the case or to deal with the case or to take the information of the case. Well, because it's fraud, I can't just have people calling me up and saying, "Oh, can you send me the details of, this order?" And I'd be sending out credit card numbers left and right. No, we can't do that. So if we have somebody saying, "I'm from ABC, police department in such and so province, country, city, state, whatever," we'd have to have them fax us official letterhead. What were those last two words I said? Official letterhead. They would have to fax it to us so that we knew that we were dealing with an official company. Because Cletus from, Podunk, middle of nowhere, Tater Knob, could be calling trying to get his ex-wife's whatever credit card information because he knows that she bought this expensive item, and how could she when she's using his credit cards for blah blah blah, and it could just be a regular domestic issue, and Cletus wants to get Ursula's information to find out and take to his lawyer in the divorce proceedings. So, but again, we were an international company. So we had police departments from around the world calling us because of all of this fraud. So, that being said, I also attended college to go to nursing school. My nursing school required transcripts. Those transcripts had to have official letterhead on them. Because I could be like, "Yeah, I graduated high school in 1996 from Tater Knob High School East," and they would be none the wiser, right? No, it had to come with my formal school's letterhead on it. When I applied for my secondary nursing school to continue with my next degree, I again had to have official letterhead from the previous college that I had gone to with official transcripts. And in that case, they actually had to be sealed. Like they could not show that they were opened, period, because that could show evidence of tampering. But whenever you transfer schools, if you're going from high school to college, if you're going from one university to another, those transcripts have to have official seal, the official school information, the official letterhead. So a lot of people were arguing left and right that, "Oh, well, this does look like the official letterhead." Everybody was saying, "Oh, Kiwi Farms got this, blah, 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 blah." It's not in color. Oh my God. Okay, well, I'm going to give every company right now a pass on it not being in color. Um, Sometimes, like the company that I was mentioning a few minutes ago, where I was the fraud department, they actually had pre-printed letterhead. And a lot of places did actually have that. But given that this is a pandemic, given that a lot of companies have gone under because of the pandemic, a lot of companies are trying to pull back on paper waste and ink waste because that color ink is hideously expensive and all that kind of stuff. They've kind of had, I would understand if a police department, which is usually funded by the taxpayers, um, I would understand if they pulled back on using color print. Okay. Now I'm not denying that this French letter was the official wording. But what I'm saying is that it's very easy that Chantal could have actually sat down at a Kinko's copy center. If you don't know what Kinko's is, it's just basically it's a big public copy place. They have computers you can use, whatever. I used to use it all through nursing school, so I didn't have to waste a crap ton of ink at home. But so it's very easy to walk in and just, copy paste. And she could very easily paste together in a Word document, or shoot, I have a Mac, so I could use Pages to put one together. Um, and then the French wording, while I'm not fluent in French, I did take French in high school. I'm pretty good with languages, and a lot of people are saying, well, why would they send it to her in French? She speaks English, and that I did actually question. But whenever I get a lot of official government information, like I just got my voting registration stuff for the state of California, which is where I live. Um, on certain pages, they'll have it in it's like 12 different languages. where your voting rights say in English, your voting rights say in Spanish, your voting rights say in Armenian, in Farsi, in Tagalog, in, I'm just in Korean, Japanese, like throughout both countries, Canada and the United States. If you're going to prosecute a person, you have to have it formally translated so that that person, if their primary language is, say, Ukrainian, for example, that they're going to be able to read it and have it translated to them in their native language, period. In the hospital that I work in, and, as I've said in other videos, I'm a nurse by profession. In my hospital, we use formal translation services whenever we have patients that don't speak English as their primary language, period. Okay. I had a patient a long time ago. He was adorable. I'll never forget him. But for a long time, people couldn't figure out that he was deaf, um, because he did squawk out certain words, but people weren't really kind of taking the time. And then I was just like, I was looking through his chart and I read, oh, he is deaf. So I went in and I know very very basic sign language, because I've been having my own hearing problems my entire life. Um, so I've always just been interested in learning like little bits and pieces. So I can at least say hello. I can say poop. I can say love. I can say breakfast, lunch, dinner. I can say male or female. I can say certain little things, just very basic, but I cannot have a full on conversation with this man. So he would just fell in love with me because I, I signed hello and I asked him if he wanted his breakfast. And he was just like, oh my God. So it was actually really cute. He was really funny. So I'll never forget him. I love that guy. But anyway, um, in all hospital settings, if you're a patient, no matter where you are, they have translation services. Because say your primary language is Spanish. I'm just going to randomly pull out Spanish. And outside of Spanish, very basic English. Like you can say water, you can say hungry, you can say hot, you can say cold, you can say hello, you can say goodbye. You can say very basic things. But if your doctor comes in and says, we need to do an EGD with colonoscopy, even in English, a lot of people don't know what that means. Or if they say you have dilated cardiomyopathy, how do you translate that into Spanish? Unless you're a doctor whose primary language or you are fluent in Spanish, your doctor comes in and says, oh, you have hypertrophic dilated cardiomyopathy, you have diabetes mellitus type 2, and you need to go on a diet and you need to see a dietitian because we need to help you get your sugars under control. And then this is how you take your insulin. You need to inject it. Here's an orange. I'll give you starting dose. You need to do 2 units of Humulin R. You need to do 10 units of Humulin N. And the Humulin N, you need to do it every 6 to 12 hours. You need to check your sugar. This is how you check it. This is how you read it on a glucometer. Oh, here's the glucometer. So you just poke your finger with it every 6 hours, or you do it. Blah, 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 blah. I'm just randomly pulling out stuff. So guys, don't try and correct me on what everything that I just actually said. But if you had somebody rapid fire telling you that kind of information in a language that you did not know, do you think you could go home and do all that stuff if you didn't have it in your primary language? So where I'm going with this is that I think that the letter that Chantal provided was strictly in French because, of course, it is in Quebec. So that's the first thing that they're going to actually do because by law, French is their first language. But they know that Madame Sereau speaks English primarily. So they did send her one in English. She's not showing it. She's showing the one that was primarily sent in French so that she could cut that one up, which would actually be technically the official letter, but she could cut that one up and destroy it, basically, because it's not the one that's in her primary language. but also so that she could show off her mad non-French skills. She read it like a toddler. God, I took French 20 years ago and I could read that freaking thing better than she could. So anyway, but where I'm going with this too is that Troll Detective, if you don't know who Troll Detective is, just give them a subscribe, give them a like. Oh my God, they pick apart everything and they're very thorough. A lot of people are saying, oh, you know, this isn't correct. Troll Detective got it wrong, blah, 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 blah. I do think the letter is real, but I think it was sent a long time ago. So let's get into the video real quick. I'm having to refilm this because last time for some reason the video played the sound, but not the video. So let's make sure this works. So first things first, they make the excellent point. It's an official letter. It's an official letter. There's a very formal, and you learn this in high school. And if you didn't learn this in high school, I want to know what the hell high school you went to so I can actually avoid that entire part of the country. There's very formal business um, formatting, and it doesn't matter what the business is. My hospital uses this kind of formatting. In my When I was in college, I had to actually we were doing a sample resumes for nursing resumes for professional nursing resumes, as well as resume building when I was actually in the undergrad portion of my nursing program. I learned this in high school, and you guys, there's formal business lettering. It doesn't matter if you run a bank. It doesn't matter if you run a catalog company. It doesn't matter if you run a hospital. This type of formatting is universal. And it doesn't matter if you're in friggin' Quebec or Timbuktu. And we'll see. City of Ontario, California Police Department. West Yorkshire, UK Police. Austin, Texas Police Department. Singapore Police Force. Royal Police Force of Antigua and Barbuda. Toronto Police Service, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Oh, baby J. Hey.
All right. Police. Line.
Let's back it up.
Police. Line.
Right there. You're telling me that Gatineau has that crappy ass little seal, no contact information, not a website, not a phone number, not a freaking fax number, and no address. Not a single goddamn thing written on the top portion of that letter. Now, the parts that are cut up are the actual dossier or case number, and of course Chantal's address. But in a formal business letter, technically, the who it's coming from and who it's going to is in that upper left portion. So if we kind of back it up a little bit. Oh, did we go further? Yeah, we went a little too far. Sorry about that. Okay, see right here, West Yorkshire. So right up here And right over here is the contact information of the person. Over here it says legal services, police headquarters, da 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 da. That's the actual contact information for the West Yorkshire Police. You see it through all of these examples. So you guys, it's a faked with an ed at the end letter. I really truly think that she got this letter a long time ago, and then she was trying to drag this out for as long as she could. But this past weekend, she realized she fucked up and got busted out with dipshit out at that no-tell motel. Which, I mean, I don't get it. Like, does she really think people are that fucking stupid? Like, seriously, does she really think we're that fucking stupid? I don't get it. Like, it bothers me that she really thinks that she is smarter than so many people. Oh my God. I'm like squeezing my baby Yoda over here, and that's not a euphemism. I actually do have a whole collection of baby Yodas over here. Just with rage, because like, how can you sit there and think that you are smarter than everybody and try and pull this bullshit off? And you really think, okay, so we're gonna go over here. Now, you can see it says, par la presente, nous. I'm sorry, if my sounds a little bit Spanish, it's because I've been trying to teach myself Spanish for a while. So, nous désirons vous informer. So it's just basically saying we wish to inform you that l'accusation, am I saying that right? Ooh, sorry, sometimes it sounds like Spanish. Oy, que la, la, l'accusation, oh, I can't say it any other way. I can't get my accents right. Anyway, the accused, déposé, it's like a deposition, the deposed person, whatever, the accusation. Uh, Basically, the accused person in case number blah, 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 and you are the victim or plaintiff, or plaintiff. Plaintiff? Plaintiff. Did I say that right? Anyway, n'est pas et retourné? Did I say that right? Okay. Let's see. N'est pas, they're not going to, basically, they're not going to continue to pursue the criminal penalties of the case. Sweet. See, and this is the hard part. I grew up hearing my family speak Italian, so when I want to pronounce certain words in French, they come out sounding Italian, and then I've been trying to teach myself Spanish, and sometimes it comes out sounding Spanish. So, sweet. I think that's pronounced setta decisión. Wait. Ooh, see, again. I'm not going to even try. Shit. My pronunciation is terrible. I could read it and understand it, I just can't pronounce it correctly. Because the word, I think it's pronounced in French as set or seta. In Italian, it would be chetta. We don't soften our C's, so that CE is actually ch. Anyway, so basically, they're just saying that they're dropping the case. Now I could copy and paste this very easily. I have the screenshot right there. I could just top it out. And a lot of people made a big deal because it says Madame. In French, Madame does mean Mrs. And if you know, Mrs. means a married woman. But Mademoiselle is usually referred to an unmarried woman. Now, at a certain age, sometimes, I mean, people call me ma'am, and they've been calling me ma'am for the longest time, and it's bugged me for the longest time, but it doesn't really bother me anymore. I'm not a ma'am, I'm a miss. Actually, I'm technically a Ms. I'm an MS, not an MISS. I'm too old. I am of legal age, so I'm no longer able to be a miss. Um, but some people will call me Mrs. or ma'am. And I just like, oh, I'm 44. I'm not my mother. So a lot of people made a big deal about that. And then a lot of people made a big deal about the fact that she cut up an official document. And I'm like, okay, you know what? For her own sake, I don't fault her for that. Now, some people actually pointed out right here, you can see the crease in the paper, and that she had an envelope in her hand. The crease to me, it is weird. It really is weird because that crease isn't a crease. It's a little too weak to have been a formal letter. Like it looks like somebody just kind of hastily folded it, or it was folded in a big bundle. Because you know, like if you crease like one or two pieces of paper, you get a nice crisp line. But if you fold it kind of in around like a big stack of papers, it'll have a little bit looser, I guess, fold. I don't know if that makes any sense. But anyway, so a lot of people were kind of pointing out that that's questionable. But and of course a lot of people made a big deal because she had cut away the address, and I don't have an issue with because she didn't want to dox herself. We all know her dox. It's all over the damn internet. If you want to look up where she lives, you can. Kiwi Farms doxed her a long time ago. Hell, she even doxed herself. So just don't go there with that. That's kind of a stupid argument. Um, but I think in general, I've kind of proven my point is there's a lot of reasons to believe this is fake. A lot of reasons. And of course, these are my opinions. I wouldn't know unless I had a formal letter from the police of Gatineau. I actually did try and Google. I did. I actually tried to Google to see if I could find kind of more an official, like if even if it was just a press release, because my local police department, because of where I live, there's a lot of press releases from my police department about arrests they've made, about um, traffic closures on certain areas, even filming, like movie filming, because I live in the movie capital of the world. Yay. Anyway, um, there's a lot of press releases that they do. And even on their press releases, whether it's a digital press release or something that's sent to me in the mail, like it says from da 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 Police Foundation, it has their logo. It has all of the little bits and pieces, the phone number, the contact information, who their public information contact is. And yes, I am in the U.S. I'm not in freaking Gatineau, Quebec, Canada. There are cousins to the north, and we've already seen the city of Toronto. Why is city of Toronto so much different than the city of Montreal in something like formal letter writing, when Yorkshire, UK is exactly the same as the LAPD? So explain to me why Yorkshire, UK and the Los Angeles Police Department, or the city of Long Beach Police Department, or the city of Chicago Police Department, or the city of New York Police Department would be any different than freaking Montreal or Gatineau, Quebec, Canada. If Toronto does it just as like Yorkshire, UK, and just like Singapore, and just like, you know, Bangladesh, whatever, they all use that same general template for their formal letter writing. This does not. There's no contact information. There's no city seal. All you have is the police seal, and that's it. That's it. It's it, it's not even a college level question, it's a high school level question. If you graduated high school and you don't know how to write a basic business letter, or even find a proper template to write a basic business letter or read one from a company, and it doesn't even matter what the company is. My hospital uses this formatting. My bank uses this formatting. My doctor's office uses this formatting. Shit. My car dealership uses this formatting. So you guys have to stop and think. The actual wording of the letter is real. She did not get it in April. The case was dropped a long time ago. In my previous videos, I've said this. She would not shut up about it. The Crown saw and heard everything. She was just trying to keep up the ruse for as long as she could so that she could bilk people out of their money. That's all it was. She wanted to bilk people and milk it for all the sympathy that she could get. And this past weekend, she effed it up. She effed it up hard with that no-tell motel BS of her and Natter barbecuing that god-awful food. They were caught out in like, what, 3 hours? They were found out. It's so pathetic. It's so pathetic. The chances are that a man who originally came from Egypt has lived all over the world, settled in Montreal, then moved to Gatineau, would drive, or sorry, he doesn't even drive, would go 40 minutes out of his way to purposefully stay in a no-tell motel dump in Foodie Beauty's podunk, middle of nowhere hometown. Right. I'm going to believe that. I'm totally going to believe that. Totally going to believe that. Why? Just why? Oh my God, she thinks we're like the stupidest people on earth. God, it's so funny. It's too funny. So, anyway, you guys, I'm just going to leave it there. I needed to get this off my chest, and hopefully it recorded the right way this time. But anyway, you guys, please go over to Troll Detective, give him a like, subscribe, watch all of. I say he, but I don't want to say he. It could be a she. I don't really know. Um, Watch the videos. It's fun. It helps break things down, and I do think Troll Detective actually did get it right. I really do. Troll Detective really got things right in this one. Not 100%, because again, I do think the letter was real. I think that it was written and sent a long time ago. She knew it was dropped before she went to Cuba, hell, it might have even been dropped before she even went to Canada, before she lost her channel. I think it was almost dropped almost immediately, to be perfectly honest. I really do. And I've said that across a couple of videos. But my last video, when the whole Nader got arrested, she was in Cuba, then she was afraid of that she was going to get in trouble too. Why would she think that she was going to get arrested? So, I've been kind of working on the theory, and I don't want to completely go into it, but I have a feeling, I have a very distinct feeling. The most popular case of the year right now is, of course, the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trial. If you're not completely up on it, I will say I'm not completely up on it too, but a very quick, very simple rundown. Amber and Johnny were married. They had a very volatile marriage. They abused each other. Johnny, on the other hand, was smart enough to actually record her confessing that she beat the crap out of him. They ended up getting divorced. In the settlement of the divorce, it was determined just to be an amicable split. They went their both ways. Both were to stay silent. They weren't supposed to talk. Nothing. Then Amber opened her big fat trap. I think it was to Vanity Fair, writing a quote unquote anonymous op-ed about her personal abuse story, about how she's a victim of domestic violence too. And of course, you could just read between the lines on it. Everybody knew she was talking about him. Every last bit of it, they knew. So what's going on now is a defamation suit. Defamation, if you don't understand what that is, it encompasses both libel and slander. So it's basically she attempted to make up lies about him. In a libelous situation, it's the written word. In slander, it's spoken. I only know this because I'm part of nursing school. We actually have to be taught the definition between libel and slander because it can actually happen in medical records. If they ever get subpoenaed in a formal court case of, malpractice, malfeasance, whatever. If a medical case ever gets called up on an actual court stand, they have to use the medical records. If the medical records show liable, which they in past court cases, it's been an issue. They have to be able to determine that. They need to teach nurses, they need to teach doctors not to write what you think and what you feel, but just the objective information, the actual facts of that particular medical case. Sometimes we will add cute little notes, though. I've seen doctors like say that they checked on the patient and spoke with them, and the patient was saying they really liked the oatmeal. I mean, it's cute. But we don't write in there, like the patient was an asshole, the patient was a dick. We don't write that kind of stuff in there. We never do that. That's absolutely no. No, no, no. Now, you can, if we have situations where the patients get violent with us, which they have. I've been punched and violently grabbed many times. I'm trying to say it nicely. Um, we can write in, it's not actually in the medical record, it's in what we call a variance. It's reported to the hospital administrators, who really don't give a shit about us anyway. Um, but it's actually written to say, the patient said, fuck you, get out of my room, and threw a bottle of urine at me. You know, you can write that kind of stuff, but not in the actual official medical records. But what you can say is, like, for example, if the patient, you went in to give them their medications and they said, fuck you, no, I'm not taking that pill, get out of my room, and then threw a urinal at you, you can say, patient refused to take medication. Yeah, that's how it works. So anyway, kind of got off on a little tangent there, but basically saying that with the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial is that because Amber Heard went and opened up her big fat mouth in an actual publication, everybody knew who she was talking about. And Johnny Depp basically said, well, you know what? We split. It was done. It was over with. And now you're trying to sit there and call me an abuser in front of the entire world when you were just as abusive to me. I'm going to sue you because you told lies on me in a formal publication. So with everything that happened, everything that came out while, even before she was in Cuba, I have a very sneaking suspicion that Miss Didi probably got the idea to do the same and threaten Foodie Beauty with libel. Well, actually, in this case, it would actually be slander because it's spoken. If you want to remember the difference, libel, remember the word library. What do you do in a library? You read books. If you want to know slander, just remember spoken. They both begin with an S. So that's a good way just to remember it. But anyway, but defamation encompasses both. Defamation is basically just written or spoken word that is lies meant to make a person look bad. Simply put, very simply put. Um, but anyway, I honestly think Dee Dee probably threatened Foodie Beauty with some kind of a defamation lawsuit. And that's why she's been saying for the longest time that she legally can't talk about it in one moment and then turns around and says, well, I don't have legal paperwork that says I can't say, but I'm not supposed to talk about it. I'm not supposed to talk about it. I'm not supposed to talk about it. And she just keeps saying that over and over and over and over until she's blue in the face. And nobody's really believing her, to be honest. But in all honesty, I think either Nodder or Dee Dee And to collectively, maybe the one brain cell the two of them actually share, they might have come up with some kind of a scheme to hold some kind of legal prosecution over Foodie Beauty's head. And I think that's why she's been so mum's the word lately, because the case has been dropped. So Nodder knows he's not under her thumb anymore with that, but he's still bilking her for money. So he's got her under his thumb in that sense. But what incentive does that give to say that she can't talk about Dee Dee, who's obviously the one who she hates? So again, it comes down to a case of, is it Nodder? Is it Dee Dee? Is it Nodder? Is it Dee Dee? Is it Nodder? Is it Dee Dee? It just hmm, doesn't really add up. So I think it's actually Nodder and Dee Dee are trying to bilk her for more money, and they're trying really hard to hold that over her head so that she, A, will just shut the fuck up, but B, so that they can bilk her for more money. It's becoming more and more apparent. And but I also have a feeling that Nodder has Dee Dee snowed right now. I think Miss Chantal might be driving to Montreal to give him a ride, because if you notice, okay, the last time there was the quote unquote cop knock at the door, it's a deleted stream, and I actually found it on I think it was Just Saying's channel. Um, it was on or around April 19th or 20th that she did that video that ended in a cop knock, and then she very quickly hung up and then she deleted it. At the very end of this video, there was the quote unquote cop knock. Both of those videos took place on a Wednesday or a Tuesday or a Wednesday. Because again, I'm not 100% clear on the original posted date for the first cop knock. It was either the 19th or the 20th of April. Okay. All of her trips to not Montreal lately have always been a Tuesday, Wednesday. So my theory is she's driving out to Montreal, picking him up, bringing him back, and then taking him back home the next day. So like the first stay in Gatineau, I think it was the Hotel Adam. That was like a Tuesday, Wednesday. The cop knock that happened was a Tuesday, Wednesday. This one, let's see, as technically yesterday it was a Thursday. So, and you know what? The Hotel Adam, now that I think about it, that was a Thursday too. So I think she's picking him up midweek to bring him back to Gatineau so he can do his parole office, whatever, whatever. He stays overnight, like at a hotel, because, I mean, it's 2 hours there, 2 hours back. That's a lot of driving in one day. So I wouldn't be surprised if she's taking advantage of the situation by driving all the way there, picking him up, coming back, staying at a hotel. So she's got him alone. And of course, he's taking advantage because, well, he can bilk money out of her for his pretend sexual whatever. She leaves happy as a pig in shit, and then the next day she drives him home, or what, something along that timeline. Speculation, of course. I'm only kind of putting stuff together. I feel like that picture that there's a meme of a guy. He's got all the stuff all over the wall. I think it's actually from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He's got all the pictures all over the wall with the string attaching everything. It looks like conspiracy theory. I feel like that guy. Um, but yeah, there's always this Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday lately since she came back from Cuba, where she'll like disappear for a weird amount of time, and then they get busted out. And we know that she can't bring Nodder back to the villa because Pete's is there. And Pete and Nodder don't like each other. And that's been abundantly clear for a long time. So I'm still working on that theory, so I'll get to that later. But if anything, I'm just going to end this here. I know I've been blathering on for a long ass time. Um, but again, if you could leave a comment, a like, a subscribe, dislike, a hate comment, I don't care, just anything. Please let me know what you think, your thoughts, your feelings, your conspiracy theories. I'd love to hear them too. But if anything, today, you guys, technically it's Friday. It doesn't have to be Friday. It could be any time, any day of the week. Do something good for yourself, whatever that good thing might be, whether it's writing in a journal, taking a walk, eating a green vegetable, going to visit your doctor. Please go and visit your doctor. Take care of yourself. Please do not be like Chantal. Anyway, take good care of yourself. Have a good conversation with an old friend. Text somebody. Look at memes online. It doesn't matter. Just do something. Do something good for yourself. In the end, just don't be like Chantal. So you guys have a great day, a great weekend, and I will be back with more at a later time. And I'm out.